Diddy presented me in front of his friends. I was very scared. He tried to sacrifice me, but I ran away from there.
What is a freak off? The freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism.
He had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting.
They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that video.
At the beginning of the day, Diddy's family appeared in court once more with a resolute demeanor. Nevertheless, his twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, left the courtroom with a dejected expression and hardly a word. There were also his boys, King and Justin, as well as his mother, Janice.
We need you to step to the side. Step to the side, please.
You look cold. You smile. Are you guys feeling? How do you feel today?
Step to the side, please.
Watch out, watch out. Watch your butt.
Big great. How can you walk today? Congratulations at NYU, Jeff. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Golden Nation.
Nice long, you smile. Nice. That's
Step to the side, please.
feel like we like great being by his very stuff. Yeah.
Please.
Keep us a little
Watch
space.
out, watch out.
Give us a little space, please. Oh, my, sir. About that, give us a little space.
Here. Oh,
Chuck it in here. Guys,
oh. Boss down down. When you die, he's burning it.
Back up. Back up.
push you like got a white was right out of here. It's possible to knock.
Hey, man, Sean, man, be good, bro.
Okay. Tell you.
Diddy's trial's second day has ended, and while the prosecution had a good day, it wasn't a complete success. By the end of the day, however, a significant event occurred that had the potential to alter everything. It was more than just the prosecution's star witness testifying.
The prosecution's star witness taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura walking past a man she had not seen in 6.5 years. A man she says violently abused her for a decade. A man the prosecution said trafficked her. Well, she sat across from him, placed her overcoat behind her, turning her body slightly toward the jury, rubbing her pregnant belly throughout her testimony. Diddy, well, he was more fidgety than he was the day before. He was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off sex parties because she feared him and she wanted to make him happy, but feeling worthless, feeling disgusting because she didn't want to do it. Now, with each moment, the testimony became more and more graphic. Her delivery, though, it never changed. It was matter of fact, steady, calm. At times, she was even critical of herself, walking us all through how a 10-album record deal came over a 10-year period of abuse and sexual humiliation. And once you hear Cassie's testimony, you'll understand why the courtroom was so tense.
Let's dissect it. Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie provided some frank testimony. She said in court that Diddy had threatened her in the past. He threatened to reveal private footage if she didn't comply with his demands. She referred to them as freak-off videos. Was that, in essence, what he was doing? Is he operating a fashion and entertainment company? Or is he basically operating a criminal organization? We currently have a poll up, by the way. You may take part in it. Do you believe Cassie Ventura was involved in this as a partner or as a victim? Are you prepared for this?
That's what makes him unique, though.
Sure, but is that what he's doing? Is he running an entertainment and fashion industry, or is he running essentially a criminal organization?
By the way, we have a poll up right now. You can participate in it. Do you think Cassie Ventura was a victim or partner in this? Ready for this? 82%. Well, this doesn't make sense. 82% say yes. I don't know if that's yes to, I think we need clarification. 82% say victim or partner. We'll get a clarification on that.
By the way,
right now.
But that's my answer to that question.
Oh, okay. 82% say victim. 82% say victim. Maybe based on we're reporting on the testimony right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think she is a victim if the allegations are true, but also she is involved in some of the criminal I mean, she's getting those prostitutes, right? She's making payments to them, allegedly. She's having them come, so she's involved in some of the alleged criminal activity. And that's an interesting point that wouldn't just apply to her. Other people in his orbit might be some combination of victim and co-conspirator.
But you know what? That video changes everything, because the argument would be, what do you think happens if she says no?
Yeah.
What do you think happens if she says, I'm not in the mood for a freak off tonight. I'm not gonna pay the dancer. That's what's gonna happen. That video is arguably the most important piece of evidence because it sets the stage when we're talking about coercion or force. Question from Angelina, how old was Cassie when they first started dating? I think she was 19 years old, so you're talking about a 17-year age difference. That's important. I think that's an important factor if you're talking about power and control, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he's older and obviously has much more power anyway.
Sherry Williams asks, what kind of time is Diddy facing if he's found guilty?
However, Cassie failed to mention that Diddy threatened to leak the footage unless she did this. She did not immediately link her behavior to the threat. It may have been a slam dunk if she had. She hasn't closed that loop as of yet. The jury is left wondering since it's still a little vague. But the notion that he could control her like that? That's not insignificant. Kim Porter, who coincidentally passed away shortly before reportedly publishing a revelation about Diddy's evil side.
You seen how Albie Shore, he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into?
I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened, there was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, you know, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America think it's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, you know, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, you know, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
You personally, right? What do you think happened to Kim Porter?
If I say something personal, bro, and my belief, and I put it on to the public, then I might be liable.
Prosecutors now had further troubling testimony from Cassie. She expressed her displeasure and said that she had no desire to participate in these freak-offs. She even said that in order to avoid upsetting Diddy, she discussed it politely with him. That demonstrates dread, but once again, it goes beyond her feelings. What Diddy said or did to put pressure on her must be revealed to the jury.
This alleged criminal enterprise and how, based on the opening statement from yesterday, he didn't just have staff who were helping him commit the crimes, but also covering them up. Just now, an update from court. Prosecutor asked Cassie Ventura, how would he keep tabs on you? To which she apparently responds, he didn't live far apart. We didn't live far apart. He'd send security to come find me or a trusted assistant. Like who? David James, Christina Courtroom, who we all know has been a central figure in this case. Maybe not the criminal case, but she's come up in lawsuits before. The prosecutor asks her, was your relationship exclusive? Ventura replies, no. If she's naming names like David James or Christina Coram, do they have to testify, you think?
I don't think they have to testify, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I would think this is all planned out, that she's going to indicate some people and then the prosecution is going to bring them in later in the trial to verify, right? One thing you really want to do with a witness like this, the defense is going to say that she's embellishing. They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that video, right? They can't just say she's a liar, but they're going to say she's exaggerating, she's embellishing, they're painting it a certain way because of the case. So you have to bring in these corroborating witnesses and whatever other corroborating evidence you have to verify what it is she's saying. So it would be very useful, for example, if she says, yes, David James came around to check on me on behalf of Mr. Combs, and then David James takes the stand and says, yes, I did that.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
I'm anti-establishment, so I can never be the establishment. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm at the Diddy party, I'm there to tell. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm there to see who the is in here and what do y'all get from being in here.
Do it for play. If you do it for real, here it is, Kevin. I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want.
They put the drugs in the baby oil. You thinking you getting a massage, you can't even get up.
Cassie said that during these freak-offs, Diddy, or others he instructed, urinated on her. Was that what you wanted, the prosecutor asked. No, Cassie responded bluntly. It was repulsive. I choked. That was not what I wanted anybody to do. She said that it was clear she didn't want it when questioned why she didn't say no. However, here's when the defense may retaliate. Did you say no explicitly? They might dispute. In any case, was he forcing you? The law is concerned with that. Evidence of threats or force. Cassie also said that she never explicitly said stop or permission. This creates a gray area that the defense will attempt to exploit. Given that Cassie Ventura, the claimed victim, is obviously pregnant and expecting her third kid, it will be fascinating to see how they respond to her. We don't know how jurors will perceive it or how they will visually examine that. However, in reality, they need to ensure that they are fair and pay attention to everything, including the evidence, before they officially declared his innocent against everyone. Although Cassie, the prosecutor, in the case against the I defense, admitted that freak-offs will be presented, they claimed that the films were taken straight from Cassie's phone and had nothing to do with the government's research. However, they were basically attempting to cast doubt on her motivation for keeping these films and reiterated the claim that this case involves money, adultery, and love. However, the prosecution is contending that witnesses will testify that they were mistreated, kicked, punched, forced to consume narcotics, and forced to engage in sexual activities.
It'll be interesting to see how they react and respond to the alleged victim, Cassie Ventura.